The total value of American arms sales to Saudi Arabia over the past half-century approaches $100 billion, with over a quarter of the contracts signed in the 1990s. These figures include weapons, support equipment, spare parts, support services and construction. Essentially, however, although they have been purchased by the Saudis, they are used by the Americans. The initial entry of the American armed forces in the kingdom occurred at the end of the Second World War, when the United States built a modern airbase at Dhahran, near the Hassa oil fields. All the while, the Saudi rulers tried to keep the American military presence at low profile, aware that it was a provocation. And with this presence, little pockets of American life sprung up across the kingdom. However, arms sales, like that of so many to Muslim countries, were not without their conditions and limitations. President Carter's sale of advanced F-15 fighter aircraft in 1978 was only approved under conditions that limited their range and offensive power because of fears that they could tip the regional balance against Israel. Initially, President Reagan's sale of military equipment was only to help the Saudis guard against attacks on their oil installations. It included military aircraft, refueling tankers and air-to-air missiles. When Israel raised strenuous objections to the sale, the packages were scaled down and special restrictions placed on the use of the aircraft. The ultimate act of dependency came in the 80s, when under American instruction the Saudis signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, effectively forswearing any nuclear ambitions. United States arms trade with Saudi Arabia increased dramatically throughout the 1990s. Of a total of $14.5 billion in contracts signed, $6.1 billion preceded the first Gulf War. American military presence also increased further.
These forces are participating in joint exercises with Saudi Arabia. Their presence will be temporary.
Before the launch of the Gulf War, Cheney declared, "After the danger is over, our forces will go home." But Western forces have remained in the kingdom, even in the absence of any formal agreement on their status. Instead, they informally established themselves under the pretext of the dual containment of Iran and Iraq, particularly enforcement of the no-fly zones. America had complete autonomy, often mounting large air raids from Prince Sultan Air Base upon Baghdad, without even providing prior notice to the Saudi government. Since then, they have treated the bases and the territory as their own. Subsequent arms packages worth tens of billions were designed to permit the rapid deployment of the United States ground forces from Saudi in the event of any Middle East hostilities that threaten American interests. These large arms sales and the Gulf Wars have also helped keep American defense contractors' production lines open and have been quite significant for the US balance of trade. Nevertheless, the buying sprees of past decades have not lessened the kingdom's essential dependence on the United States for its defense and security.